What's up, everybody? It's your boy Zuma Quintero. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and this is Underground Magazine issue 9. Growing up, living in, California as a young kid, I was, living with my mom. And then, just it was different when I moved to Texas because I moved back and forth so many times. So I was like, when I was younger, when I got into, my older teens, when I then came back to LA and then went back to Dallas, in my college years. And so I was back and forth, all the time. So it was different, I really got a chance to like feel like I have two homes, especially because they're such different places and I have a love for both of them at the same time. And, obviously LA is always going to be home. But there's also something special about Dallas too. There's a lot that I learned and I give a lot of thanks to when it comes to my music. So I, different. Just I guess I became kind of two people in one person. So. Oh, absolutely. It's so funny because like in LA, we're so open to like other artists, and you have one rapper might get on a dance track with a a person that plays the violin. It's just so many different, creative outlets and so many different ways to like blend the genres. And because we're such a melting pot here in LA anyways, we just have so many different cultures, so many different things that kind of go into, the music. As in Texas, it was very singer-songwriter or heavy like, rap or just country music, so it was like one of those, you're playing, music in a show, you're not going to see a lot of like change up. You're going to see a very specific, like, this is the sound, this is what we do. And there was no, disrespect to it. It was just, it was really different to me because I was learning, kind of, a new place, a new area to like kind of grow with like musicians and stuff. So, I wore a lot of different hats in the music world, and I think, I first started off as a songwriter. I was always kind of writing songs and just finding beats on YouTube, and then it went from recording and kind of making like demos for people, and then, just really like finding my sound kind of came from me just like letting go of like trying to follow the other sounds and just really taking all what I liked, and just putting into one thing. I went to my very first rave when I first got into the EDM scene, and I was not an EDM person whatsoever, and I was just like, okay, this is cool, but that's what I want to do. I want to be a DJ. And I didn't realize that, now, fast forward, I actually got a chance to like really, find a sound that I love that I could still play as a DJ, and that there's a community that actually appreciates the kind of music that I make. So it just took a lot of trial and error, just dabbling to different things, but nothing really stuck until like I started getting this like kind of like appreciation for my music, and people were really just like vibing with it. So that's when I said, okay, this is where I want to stay but not get too comfortable, but this is the lane I want to take because I think this is going to help develop me into the artistry world, and me being a producer, a DJ, an artist, a songwriter, all these different things. I don't want to be too eclectic, but I also want to have enough to where it's a cohesive, brand. The last project I just dropped was called Dark Paradise. It was very EDM trap heavy with a lot of R&B tones to it. Now this new project I'm working on, I'm kind of working on two at the same time. One is called Palo Santo. It's more of an R&B meets Caribbean Latin vibe. Then the other one is my production, project, which is going to be more of a kind of me finding the artists and vibing with their sound and making my sound meet their sound. So it's every day is a change day. One day I make a beat that sounds like this. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to send it to an artist. It's just because being a producer, I just experiment so much. I've known Posky for years, and I'm going on to probably like close to 7 years. And there was and I think what it was, I made one beat, he did a song with it, and it was cool. This next song was kind of the turning point of my production career, like when it really was, when I was starting to get appreciation for my sound. So it was cool to have somebody who works so hard and has built so, many opportunities for other people and built this big empire that he's working on and still growing. I thought it was pretty cool for me, to have a track that we both like really felt the same way about. So it was cool. And I had just got done doing a track for another artist, Paloma Rush. She's an LA artist, more on the pop and Latin scene. So it was really cool to like see myself doing what I really want to do with an artist that I respect and that is also a homie. So it was like, this was kind of the turning point, and I was like, okay, I'm finding my group of people in my music world that I can surround myself with and grow with. My top three would be Party Next Door, Lana Del Rey, and The Weeknd. Um, they just really were the reason why. Like their sound is just what made me just like really fall in love with music. So I just I've kind of always been on this wave kind of thing, and I love the ocean, I love the waters, I love the beach, and it's just something about Zuma Beach. It has like connections to being there as a kid. Um, I remember one time I went on the trip with my grandfather. I stayed with him for a week, and then he drove down to the beach, and it was one of those cool things, because I moved around so much. So relationship with family wasn't always like so close. But this one time, I really remember like how cool it was to hang out with my grandfather, who he did pass away, but it really was one of those things where I'm glad that there was like that one moment that I had. It was like I remember, and then it just being something really special. Like there's so many memories I've had at Zuma Beach. Like, that I brought some of my friends I met in Texas out there and showed them like, hey, this is Zuma Beach, and they're like, they love it, and just the name just really resonated with me. But it didn't happen until COVID until I changed it, because I used to go by other names like Moscato and stuff like that. But when you're thinking of a name, you try to think of something that's gonna be like cool and catchy and edgy, and for me it was just like Zuma, and it's so natural when people call me. It's like it doesn't sound for it just sounds like that's what I answer to now. Shout out to GM. So I got excited about that because GM, bro, that dude he's awesome. I mean, there's like nobody has that sound that he has, and so I get excited when people ask me like, oh, like who's your intro? I'm like GM. I jumped to it. It's like fangirling over here, but it's like homie really did teach me a lot, and he's still teaching me a lot. And just like I trust him with my vocals. I've worked with so many engineers in LA. I've worked with some engineers in Dallas, and they've been great, and I'm always going to respect their relationships, but it's just like nothing stuck. It wasn't like, oh, I have to work. Now it's like I don't work anywhere else now. I only work with GM, because he understands my sound. He appreciates, we're both producers as well. So we kind of have that, like, in the session, we'll cook up, or we'll record, or we'll record my stuff, and or just make reference tracks and stuff. We have so many unreleased things that we've worked on. So, it's really nice to have someone who actually understands like where you're coming from when you're making an idea come to life. So I spent a lot of time going back and forth, like I said, earlier, about me trying to figure out what I was going to do and stuff like that. And, right now I'm so focused on, my new brand that I'm launching next year. It's like a lifestyle store. It's not too much of like artist merchandise. It's more like a lifestyle store. But I'm working on mixes and trying to, really just, now that I found the community and the music and know there's people out there that like what I like, just really pushing, DJing these sets at, appropriate shows, and not, I'm just really focused on just like the DJ aspect, the business side of it, of being a brand that's authentic. And also, with production, I'm just really like, I've just finished recording a personal project, and now I'm really working on the producer project. So right now I'm just working on just like producing, DJing, more of the mechanics of it, and just really the performance of it. Just really like launching everything off before, letting people know like, hey, this is what I've been working on for the last 7.5 years with all the different turns and whatever. So, you know what? It's really funny. It's kind of always been my favorite movie. I don't know how old I was when I saw it, but I'm old enough to just tell you that I saw it in the theaters, and I thought it was so cool. I was just like, I was a Lara Croft Tomb Raider video game player, so like I was like, oh, it's cool. It's just like that. And Samuel L. Jackson, I believe, was in it too. But I just loved that they were just badasses killing people. It was really like, it was one of those movies that like no one really kind of like understood in a way, because when I would talk about it, like, what's that movie? And I'm like, bro, how do you not know Wanted? It's like, next year, I'm hoping to have the EP out, Palo Santo. Be pretty much halfway done with the production on my next one, which is going to be really cool. But I have a song called Fire right now. It's out on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon Music, YouTube, whatever you listen to or use to listen to music. So that's out right now. So, but I actually got something else. I got a Kilote feature on a track that's coming out next month, or no, in October this month. So I'm really excited about this one. This is probably one of my favorites that's gonna come out. So.